What is sleep? What's going on, YouTube? It's Knox Hill, and we're back with the reaction series. Man, I tell you what, there are just no breaks. There are no more breaks in the situation. People were complaining, allegations of ducking. There is no more duck Drake in this situation. Drake is firing, Kendrick is firing. Kendrick drops 3 or 4 or 100, it doesn't matter. But Drake is finally feeling the pressure, and he's clapped back. So this right here, right now, is none other than The Heart, Part 6. But before we get any further, listen, if you like the shirt that I'm wearing, bars, gotta catch them all. If you like the hat that I got, go cop yours, knoxhilldmv.com. Support the brand. Get the word out there. As you guys know, a lot of these reactions, I cannot monetize. I cannot earn off of them. So a great way to support the channel is by copping some merch, showing some love, joining up with the Patreon. You want to support me, support the channel, I'll put all links down there. But anyways, know what we're here for. Drake, step up to the plate. Let's see what you got. Aretha Franklin, prove it. Get it? He's telling Kendrick to prove it with that sample right there. All right, let's see where we go with this one.
All right. The Pulitzer Prize winner is definitely spiraling. I got your fucking lines tapped. I swear that I'm dialed in. First I was a rat, so where's the proof of the trial then? Where's the paperwork of the cabinet is filed in? 1090 Jake would've took all the walls down. The streets would've had me hiding out in a small town. My Montreal connects stand up, not fall down. The ones that you getting your stories from, they all clowns. I am a war general, seasoned in preparation. My jacket is covered in medals, honor and decoration. You waited for this moment, overcome with the desperation. We plotted for a week and then we fed you the information. A daughter that's 11 years old, I bet he takes it. We thought about giving a fake name or a destination, but you so thirsty, you not concerned with investigation. Instead, you in that Venice studio, it's a celebration. You gotta learn to fact check things and be less impatient. Your fans are rejoicing, thinking this is my expiration. Even the picture you use, the jokes and the medication, the Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation. Master manipulator, you bid on a speculation. You dumb and reactive, nigga, I'm petty with dedication. What about—
Wow! So that's the angle. That's the geometric angle that we're gonna dive into here. This was all a setup? So when Kendrick is pulling out story of Addington type of reveals about Drake having another kid that he's hiding, Drake is saying that he fed Kendrick that information? And then, see, I don't know if I like the master manipulator flip because Kendrick called him a master manipulator. So Drake's like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm like this evil villain. But it doesn't really help with some of the other allegations that he's got to address and deal with. I don't think he wants to be painted as a master manipulator. So I don't know about leaning into that bar necessarily, but there's some interesting flips going around here. Let's get back into this.
The Pulitzer Prize winner is definitely
Obviously, Rick Ross had his Pulitzer Prize that he got from Eminem. Kendrick Lamar receiving the Pulitzer Prize, but Drake is saying that Kendrick is spiraling. It's so funny. It really is like Mean Girls sometimes, like he said, she said, because Kendrick says the actor is spiraling, and Drake's like, I'm not spiraling, you're spiraling. I mean, that's kind of repeating what he said. Kind of lines right there, but yeah, let's see where we keep going.
I got your fucking lines tapped. I swear that I'm dialed in. First I was a rat, so
I do like that line. I'm dialed in. Like, I'm dialed into this beef. I'm ready to go versus like tapping lines, listening, talk about wires. Kendrick Lamar saying that OVO is on his payroll. Well, now Drake doing the same thing again, flipping it back on Kendrick. Like, no, I'm dialed into what's going on in your camp, in your dirt, and I got that tapped.
Spiraling. I got your fucking lines tapped. I swear that I'm dialed in. First I was a rat, so where's the proof of the trial then? Where's the paperwork of the cabinet is filed in? 1090 Jake would've took all the walls down.
1090 Jake. You talking about the End of Sentence YouTube channel, which just like sits there and basically proves like a lot of these rappers that are snitching and lying and going off of that. So Drake is saying that if this is all true, it would have been that. And what's interesting is how this all ties in even further to New Ho King, right? That's why Drake was at the restaurant, because actually outside of that restaurant is where Drake was robbed. And he even has the lines addressing, you know, getting slimed out of his AP, out of his watch, out of his Audemars Piguet. And then there was a big story back then, and Drake is talking about this. So this is what Kendrick was alluding to. When Kendrick said he's at New Ho King, and he's cheesing and all of that and playing on those bars and flipping it, he's suggesting about knowing that robbery and knowing the street credibility of Drake there, because what's one of the codes? No snitching. 2 people were arrested. Drake talked to police. We know how that goes. So Drake is taking all of this now and flipping it back onto Kendrick. Like, he moves his piece this way, Kendrick moves it back, Drake moving it back again. Interesting.
Work of the cabinet is filed in. 1090 Jake would've took all the walls down.
But that's it right there, isn't it? Like, that's the ultimate rebuttal to a lot of this stuff that both of them are throwing at each other. Like, paperwork, please. Show me the receipts. Like, that's what we need to see at this point in time. Otherwise, it's just he said, she said, you know?
Streets would have had me hiding out in a small town. My Montreal connects stand up, not far down. The ones that you get in get...
Right, he's basically saying he's good right there in the streets. Like, he still got his credibility. So the no snitching thing, like, he didn't turn into 6ix9ine right there. Not everybody's coming for him.
In a small town, my Montreal connects stand up, not far down. The ones that you get and get stories from, they all clowns. I am a war general, seasoned in preparation. My jacket is covered in medals, honor and decoration.
Right, medals, honor, decorations. So he's talking about like a war general versus like all the honors and the decorations and the accolades that he's gotten over the years through his music.
General, seasoned in preparation. My jacket is covered in medals.
You know what's wild to me is like Kendrick's last diss, "You're Not Like Us," turns into a club hit. Like, I've seen videos going viral, people dancing to it, like everybody is rocking out to this. So Kendrick of all people is giving us like the club record, and Drake is coming back, not giving us a club record. This is a very sort of drop down, methodical approach and attack from Drake.
Clowns.
What is happening in 2024?
I'm a war general, seasoned in preparation. My jacket is covered in medals, honor and decoration. You waited for this moment, overcome with the desperation. We plotted for a week and then we fed you the information. A daughter that's 11 years old, I bet he takes it. We thought about giving a fake name or a destination, but you so thirsty, you not concerned with investigation. Instead,
you so thirsty, you not concerned with investigation. Very interesting lines from Drake right there. And what I want to know is there more to this now? Like, because the only thing that I've seen from Drake is him making sort of a defensive response to it on his story, saying, well, if I have this daughter I'm hiding, then where is she? Then show me where she is, right? Show me the receipts. So I get that. So that's a flip on it. But I feel like if they've set this up and they've manipulated it, then I don't know, like, show some evidence that you set it up, right? Just like Drake is telling Kendrick to bring receipts. Well, I feel like a really big play for Drake right here would have been to like do something. Just have like a video recording, like, yeah, we're going to feed him this. Like, you should have given him a name to say, and then show that you gave him the name, or really show that you pointed him in the direction. Because right now it's almost like a matter of convenience flipping that. But it's a dope flip. Like, if this is true, this is a big flip. This is a big thing, because it just goes to show Kendrick is just jumping on headlines and stories that he sees and information that he hears instead of truly fact-checking, which will help Drake's case and pushing aside the other stuff that Kendrick has said, right? This is Drake's logical approach, right? So if I prove that he's not fact-checking here, then you can take that and apply it to these other cases of this wild shit that he's saying about me and not fact-checking. You see the method of approach here? Because I thought it was interesting that this is the first attack we want to deal with, and not all the other, underage shit, which is huge, which he needs to address, and I'm hoping he addresses on this. But yeah, I'm like, why did he not address that first? It makes sense.
Fake name or a destination, but you so thirsty, you not concerned with investigation. Instead, you in that Venice studio, it's a celebration. You gotta learn to fact check things and be less impatient. Your fans are rejoicing, thinking this is my expiration. Even the picture you use, the jokes and the medication, the Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation. Master manipulator, you bit on a...
That's interesting too. Like, what would have been dope is showing like a video of like setting aside the jacket and the gloves, and like Drake is there and just like showing that. Again, if there are receipts for this, I don't know if Drake is watching this. I mean, these videos are getting hundreds of thousands of views. Then put that out there, because that's the ultimate flip, isn't it?
The Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation. Master manipulator, you bit on a speculation. You dumb and reactive, nigga, I'm petty with dedication. What about the bones we dug up in that excavation? And why isn't Whitney denying all of the allegations? Why is she following Dave free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months, the distance is wild. Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now. This episode.
Oh, hang on. Before we go into that, so the next angle that he takes is about his relationship with Whitney and the Dave freeze. But that's really interesting. So Whitney follows Dave, but doesn't follow Kendrick. I wonder what's up with that. And that was one line that he spent on it. You haven't seen your kids in 6 months. But that's a very interesting flip, because a lot of what Kendrick's been doing before he set up all this, when he's talking about putting his kids to bed at night, right? And saying a prayer for them. And he's been saying that Drake is a bad father. And this is why he was late on the timeline, because he's got his family life and that's important to him. And he's positioning himself as sort of Mr. Morale, right? Drake is kind of just like Big Step and he's wild, he's doing whatever, but Kendrick Lamar is trying to show that he's on the moral high ground of things. I feel like that's an angle that Drake could push more into if Kendrick really isn't seeing his kids and yet he's over here talking like he's a good dad basically, and he's always trying to be a role model and a father to them. That's an interesting angle to exploit if there's more there for Drake to take.
And why isn't Whitney denying all of the allegations? Why is she following Dave free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months, the distance is wild. Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything.
That's the heart emoji. I was wondering what this was, so it's got to be a pic of the child. So Drake obviously respecting that, not showing pics of Whitney and the kids, but he's showing what Dave Free said, because I was wondering, what's the significance of this right here on the cover art?
Distance is wild. Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now. This Epstein angle was the shit I expected. TikTok videos you collected and dissected. Instead of being on some disdirect shit, you rather fucking grab your pen and misdirect shit. My mom came over today and I was like, mother, wait a second. That's that one record where you say you got molested. Fuck me, I just made the whole connection. This about to get so depressing. This is trauma from your own confessions. This when your father leave you home alone with no protection, so neglected. That's why these pedophile raps and shit you so obsessed with, it's so excessive. They acting like it's so aggressive, but you just never known affection. I don't wanna dish you anymore, this really got me second guessing. Touch My Body by Mariah Carey play, you probably start reflecting.
Wow.
I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why that's the angle that you really mess with.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack on that one. This is interesting. So he's talking about Mother Eye, and he doesn't finish it. Because that's the song that we did a huge breakdown, Mother Eye Sober. But I think Mother Eye Sober is getting misquoted here. Hang on, let me bring this back, because that doesn't sound right. That does not sound right. I just made the whole connection. Hang on. Because, all right, so he starts tying in, because obviously if Kendrick's saying this about Drake and his relationship with his mom and he's disrespecting his mom, so he's like, his mom is now coming over to say these things, and Drake addresses his mom, but then he cleverly flips it into Mother Eye Sober, and he doesn't say sober. So to me, he's suggesting Kendrick isn't sober when he's doing all this stuff. That's why he doesn't say Mother Eye Sober right there. And then he leans into this angle.
About the bones we dug up in that excavation, and why isn't Whitney denying all of the allegations? Why is she following Dave free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months, the distance is wild. Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now.
There we go.
This Epstein angle was the shit I expected. TikTok videos you collected and
So that's the Garden TikTok channel that we talked about, who was speculating that she had talked to someone in Drake's crew and Drake was basically running like a private Tinder. I mean, it's not a credible source, that, but so Drake is saying, you went to TikTok? Really? Like, that's where you're getting your facts from, is TikTok of all places?
Epstein angle was the shit
Hang on, I think China's listening. Let me try this again. I love TikTok. I love TikTok. I got like 80,000 followers. I don't want to lose them.
TikTok videos you collected and dissected. Instead of being on some disdirect shit, you rather fucking grab your pen and misdirect shit.
Misdirect shit. Just like the way he flips that into it.
Instead of being on some disdirect shit, you rather fucking grab your pen and misdirect shit. My mom came over today and I was like, mother eye, wait a second. That's that one record.
Mother eye, like idea, light bulb in my head. Nice little flip into that.
Mother eye, wait a second. That's that one record where you say you got molested. Fuck me, I just made the whole connection. This about to get so depressing.
Right, there it is, yeah. No, he didn't. That wasn't the point of that. He was asked multiple times by his mother if his cousin molested him. He even gets approached by an angel and has this metaphorical piece within Mother Eye Sober where he gets asked again and he's like, nobody believes me. And I'm telling the truth. No, I wasn't. But what he finds out later and what comes around full circle, and the point of Mother Eye Sober is that his mother was molested. His mother was abused. And she's projecting that trauma. And one of the themes throughout Miss Morale and the Big Steppers is this generational trauma that gets passed on and passed down within these communities, and that Kendrick and the family units have to deal with, right? And there is a lot of molestation, unfortunately, and a lot of abusing going on. And then how that affects the next generation, and then how the next generation passes that on. The cycle continues. And the whole point of that song is Kendrick trying to break that cycle. He sets his mom free. He sets himself free. He sets Whitney free. You know, he lets the truth set everyone free. I mean, it's a powerful psychoanalytical and generational piece from Kendrick. Very interestingly getting misused by Drake here. Unless what he's saying is you're a liar, right? I don't believe you. And you actually did go through all this.
Ah, fuck me, I just made the whole connection. This about to get so depressing. This is trauma from your own confessions. This when your father leave you home alone with no protection, so neglected. That's why these pedophile raps and shit you so obsessed with. It's so
right, no protection from your dad versus protection in another way.
So neglected. That's why these pedophile raps and shit you so obsessed with. It's so excessive. They acting like it's so aggressive. But you just never known affection. I don't wanna dish you anymore. This really got me second guessing. Touch My Body by Mariah Carey play. You probably start reflecting.
What did Mariah do to have to get dragged into this topic of conversation, right? Touch My Body, flipping it in a different way. But no, don't bring Mariah. She doesn't deserve this.
This really got me second guessing. Touch My Body by Mariah Carey play. You probably start reflecting.
This is some wild shit.
I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why that's the angle that you really mess with. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but that's not the lesson. Clearly there's a deeper message. Deep cuts that never healed, and now they got it.
Huh?
You probably start reflecting. I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why that's the angle that you really mess with. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but that's not the lesson. Clearly there's a
Huh?
Been arrested. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but that's not.
No. Drake, my guy, this is not the angle that you think it is. This is not, no. I'm way too famous. Like, since he's so famous and the limelight's on him, like people would have discovered this already. Drake, that's not a defense. R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Epstein, Harvey Weinstein. No. Why did you do that? No.
Reflecting. I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why this
that's gonna make you look worse.
Angle that you really mess with. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respect.
Oh, come on. The internet. They're gonna pick you apart on that one. That is not the flip you think it is.
Why is the angle that you really mess with?
Wow.
Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young.
See, just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I feel like this is how he should have led. There's a lot of misdirection going on, which doesn't help. I mean, it's a heavy situation. This is some serious ass shit, isn't it? So it needs to be approached delicately. I feel like I'm kind of reminded of the It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know what? We need to lighten the mood real quick. Let's just play that skit.
This is bad. We gotta definitely write a song about how we do not diddle kids. Do not diddle kids. It's no good diddling kids.
There is no quicker way for people to think that you are diddling kids than by writing a song about it.
So yeah, I mean, no matter the situation, having to address this, and because it's so heavy, you're going to be put under a different microscope and judge. I don't know if there's a way to come out of this looking good. Someone's going to have something to say about it. But for me, what doesn't help is the misdirection. So the parry on this and the response and the reverse Uno flip is, you're calling me underage molester and a predator. So I'm going to clown you for being a victim? A victim in this situation? You understand, right? Like, I'm the perpetrator, so I'm going to flip it on you because you're a victim? Think about that logically. That's not the best angle to take. Maybe if you're a perpetrator and you're really the one doing it, so you're projecting that on me, well, then that has more of an angle to flip on and to misdirect. But I feel like that's not the place to misdirect. deny the allegations, shut them down, show how horrified you are with it, disgusted with it, and then just move on from there. And then continue your angles in other ways and your methods of attack. But to do that first, victim blame him, that doesn't look good. And then to turn around and say, well, since I'm famous, it can't happen, right? I would have been caught by now. But look at all these other famous people and how long did it take to catch them? How many times did Bill Cosby give you some pills to take? And, come on. We can't do that. We can't do it. We're talking about bars here and breaking them down, but we're going to lead to a different type of bars if we're not careful, Drizzy.
Reflecting, I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why that's the angle that you really mess with. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too
Damn, you know what I think it is, though? I think he's feeling pressure, but this is what happens in a battle, and this is what Kendrick has done. Kendrick has put immense pressure on Drake to fire back, and to really speed up the timeline. And when you do things quickly and you have to respond quickly and you feel that pressure, you make mistakes. You leave openings, right? You don't get the chance to really digest lines, think them through, pick up things because you're just trying to move as quick as possible, right? And this is what can happen. I just feel like this is an opening that's going to be exploited. Like when I called the slave shit that Drizzy used, and I said, that's an opening that's going to be exploited. What did Kendrick do? I mean, go watch my reaction breaking it down, then go watch what Kendrick did, and then me breaking that down. This is another example. Watch this space. We'll check back in with Kendrick.
Damn, why that's the angle that you really mess with? Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but that's not the lesson. Clearly there's a deeper message. Deep cuts that never healed and now they got infected. Like if Dave really fucked your girl and got her pregnant. Talk about breeding resentment. Not sure how to ease the
got her pregnant, breeding resentment, what we're breeding. Children passing on genetics versus breeding it within you and resentment. And deep cuts never heal, get infected. That could be taken as the abuse that he's put on Whitney, right? And abusing her and those cuts that have never healed versus your own deep cuts because of your psychological scarring and everything you went through.
And clearly there's a deeper message. Deep cuts that never healed and now they got infected. Like if Dave really fucked your girl and got her pregnant. Talk about breeding resentment. Not sure how to ease the sentiment. The shit's too intimate. I'm praying you recover from both incidents. But you a piece of shit, so this shit really no coincidence. Drake is not a name that you gon' see.
Both incidents. So he's talking about still the Mother I Sober flip, like he's been abused as a child. That's one. And then two's got to be the Dave Freeze and all that situation with Whitney and all that.
Incidents, but you a piece of shit, so this shit really no coincidence. Drake is not a name that you gon' see on no sex offender list. Easy does it. You mentioned an A minor, but niggas gotta be sharp and tell the fans who was it. You thought you left D flat, D major. I'll slit your throat with the razor and do.
That's a nice chord flip right there. And I think I hear him playing the piano underneath. Like he's playing the different keys too.
You mentioned an A minor, but niggas.
Hang on, let's bring it back further.
Cover from both incidents, but you a piece of shit, so this shit really no coincidence. Drake is not a name that you gon' see on no sex offender list. Easy does it.
Easy does it. Easy. I mean, listen, that sample from Easy Does It is what started this whole situation because we found that sample on Like That. So he's calling back to that, like Easy Does It, Slow Down versus Eazy-E. But what's interesting to me is if he's going to do an NWA flip because there's still those allegations with MC Ren from back in the day with an underage girl. I feel like that could have set up for more of a Ren flip into that than an Eazy-E flip. But anyways.
Really no coincidence. Drake is not a name that you gon' see on no sex offender list. Easy does it. You mentioned an A minor, but niggas gotta be sharp and tell the fans who was it. You thought.
Right, you have to be sharp, which is more people refer to it as a C. But anyways, we're getting musical theory on this, but you have to be sharp, sharpen your mind with how you roll with this. You're mentioning a minor key, you're mentioning me with a minor, but you got to be sharp with how you move and do better research.
You mentioned an A minor, but niggas gotta be sharp.
Yeah, he's hitting the keys underneath. You can hear it.
Tell the fans who was it. You thought you left D flat, D major.
Left D flat. Left me flat. Oh, no. But see, why? There's innuendos there because he was talking about his D before. And again, I don't know if this is the best flip. Your D is flat, right? And then you're trying to get it up and get it major. But I get what he's saying. You're trying to leave me flattened. Lying flat, lied out, get the body bag. But really, I'm still a major in this game. Versus D flat chords, which is... That's a trifecta, isn't it? Is that back to the big three as well? But then D major, so he flips it into that.
Sharp and tell the fans who was it. You thought you left D flat, D major. I slit your throat with the razor and do Rick Ross hair like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your baby mama screensaver. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Browns. I never look twice at no teenager. I'm a fucking hit maker, dawg, not a peacemaker. Yeah, bullets that I'm stuffing in each chamber. Your ass in extreme danger. Stop buying views and buy comments. You may as well keep the paper. Shit you about to need for later. I give a fuck about your streaming data. You could drop 100 more records. I'll see you later. Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker. I don't wanna fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you could thank the savior. Said if they deleted his music, then your music is going to a hypocrite. I don't understand why these people praise you. Sounding like
That's an interesting angle.
you send him commissary when he needs some paper. Album dropping soon, no wonder you turn a clout chaser instead of doing hard labor. Nigga, I see you when I see you like Fantasia. And Whitney, you can hit me if you need a favor. And when I say I hit your back, it's a lot safer.
Oh,
I promise.
let's bring it back and break down some of these lines. But you know what's funny? This is my twisted mind here. All of a sudden, I hear that one line, and a part of me gets excited. Like, oh, are we getting a new Kendrick album this year? Is that what's happening?
Your nature. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you could
Hang on. Yeah, that's that flip I really want to get into. But let's bring it back and break down the bars.
chamber your ass. Ross hair like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your
Yeah, I heard that Rick Ross there because Rick Ross's plane crash landed, and then he jokingly said that, you know, OVO came through like Top Gun and shot him down. So he's flipping that, but also the Malaysian air flight. They got shut down by the Russian missiles, like flying over. Yeah, and then they couldn't find it, the missing Malaysian air flight. So he's saying that, like, you could go missing. Pretty much. Like, this is getting serious, right? He's doing mob talk on him.
I slit your throat with the razor and do Rick Ross hair like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your baby mama.
Interesting slit your throat because we talked about Rick Ross before, you know, prison, parole, laying into prison, right? Normally get your throat slit by a razor in prison. So he's tying that in that case.
Slit your throat with the
Mr. Prison Cop.
razor and do Rick Ross hair like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your baby mama screensaver. Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Browns. I never look twice at no teenager. I'm a fucking
So he's finally addressing the Millie Bobby Brown situation, and they were friends when she was really young, and she's talked about texting him and always keeping in touch with him. So that's that story.
fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Browns. I never look twice at no teenager. I'm a
Oh, and then he still flips it because, you know, you got the Bobby Brown back to the Whitney. Millie Bobby Brown versus Whitney. We talked about this before, and Bobby Brown notoriously beating the shit out of Whitney Houston. So he comes back around Kendrick and Whitney smooth
only fucking
into the Millie Bobby Brown flip.
Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Browns. I never look twice at no teenager. I'm a fucking hit maker, dawg, not a peacemaker. Yeah, bullets that I'm stuffing in each chamber. Your ass in extreme danger. Stop buying views and buy comments. You may as well keep the paper. Shit you
Again, that's really interesting. It's like, you do this. I don't do it. You do it. So like Kendrick Lamar said that Drake is buying bots and comments. So Drake's rebuttal is you're buying bots and comments for your views.
extreme danger. Stop buying views and buy comments. You may as well keep the paper. Shit you about to need for later. I give a fuck about your streaming data. You could drop 100 more records. I'll see you later. Yeah, maybe when you
So, listen, I feel like we all know that Kendrick's got more on deck. Drake acknowledging that. I'll see you later. That's an interesting statement to make because we know he wants to go away on vacation. This man is desperate to go on holidays, right? But in this case, it could also mean like more of a physical threat. Like, I'm not doing any more music after this. Like, when I see you, I will see you later in a different sense.
streaming data, you could drop 100 more records. I'll see you later. Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker. I don't want to fight with a woman.
Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker. So is that a threat underneath that? Like, I'm going to make sure you meet your maker versus like the streaming data maker. I made you with this situation. Your streams and your numbers are climbing up. You can thank me for that.
Shit you about to need for later. I give a fuck about your streaming data. You could drop 100 more records.
But meet your maker like meet your death.
I'll see you later. Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker. I don't want to fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you
I don't want to fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. But see, that's an opening for a flip too, right? So you're calling me a woman beater and saying I'm feeding your nature. So what does that make you then in this scenario? But you get what he's saying. He's like, you know, if I'm going to fight with you, you're used to like fighting and trying to beat up on things. I don't want to enrage you.
drop 100 more records. I'll see you later.
Camera died. Keep it rolling.
Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker. I don't want to fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you could thank the savior. Said if they did.
Yeah, that's the angle.
Either his music and your music is going to a hypocrite. I don't know.
So there was that story when Spotify was going to pull R. Kelly's discography, right? And we all know the R. Kelly situation. I'm sorry. Like, don't get pissed about it, but he's a piece of shit. We know that. We've established that. We've talked about it multiple times. So they were going to pull his music, but Kendrick Lamar, it was top dog, but it was also Kendrick because there was also there was a Bloomberg article, wasn't it, on Kendrick calling the head of Spotify and saying he's going to pull some of his discography if you pull all of R. Kelly's. And the thought process was he was making a statement about creativity and like what artists do in real life is over here. What artists do creative-wise and just protecting the integrity of creativity, right, of art. Art doesn't exist in that same world. Right? So he was trying to argue that standpoint. And I get that. But Drake is saying, and again, this is an interesting angle because you want to talk about all of this stuff. Like you want to come after me and say this crazy child predator shit when you literally did something to defend the music of an underage predator. Right? That is an interesting angle to look at and to explore from Drake.
Understand why these people praise you. Sounding like you sent him commissary when he needs some paper. Album.
Send him commissary because he's in jail. Bars. Again, get your shirt. Get your bar shirt. Come on. Not for commissary though, right? Prison commissary when you go and get some supplies from the commissary. So Kendrick is sending him stuff, still helping out R. Kelly in jail.
You said if they deleted his music, then your music is going to a hypocrite. I don't understand why these people praise you. Sounding like you sent him commissary when he needs some paper. Album dropping soon.
And the savior was interesting because remember Kendrick Lamar positioning himself as the savior and dealing with this messiah complex, wearing a crown on his head.
You turn a clout chaser instead of doing hard labor. Nigga, I see.
Clout chaser instead of hard labor. Instead of like really building up and promoting your album that's incoming, you're just resorting to diss tracks. I feel like a lot of people in the industry are doing that. They're finding that that's just a cheat code for getting ahead on things.
No wonder you turn a clout chaser instead of doing hard labor. Nigga, I see you when I see you like Fantasia. And Whitney, you can hit me if you need a favor.
See you when I see you, Fantasia song. Interesting time to quote that one there.
Nigga, I see you when I see you like Fantasia.
But again, I'll see you when I see you. Like again, it sounds to me like Drake is really just trying to just wash his hands and he's hoping this is going to be the last track that he has to do.
You can hit me if you need a favor. And when I say I hit your back, it's a lot safer.
You can hit me. You can hit me on my phone instead of literally hitting someone. When I say I hit you back, I'm not going to like hit you back. I'm going to hit you back in a different sense.
I promise. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. This shit was some good exercise. Like, it's good to get out, get the pen working.
Good exercise. Well, you didn't need that for your abs.
Good exercise. Like, it's good to get out, get the pen working. You would be a worthy competitor if I was really a predator and you weren't fucking lying to every blogger and editor, but it is what it is.
Would he though? Because that's more serious legal jail shit we're talking
And
there.
every
That's not really in the spirit of hip hop if you were a predator.
an editor, but it is what it is. You definitely got this shit burnt the fuck out though. Like, you got 10 more records to drop. The one before the last one, we finessed you into telling a story that doesn't even exist. And then you go and drop the West Coast one to try and cover that up. I mean,
that is interesting if they really finessed him on that angle, because that takes away a chunk of what I feel like is the best diss track of this entire series.
And then you go and drop the West Coast one to try and cover that up. I would like that one. That would be some shit I could dance to if he wasn't tripling down on some whole other bullshit, but
that's a double right there, like tripling down, because he literally dropped 3 diss tracks in the span of 4 to 8 hours versus like tripling down on these allegations that he's made on Drake.
Dance to if he wasn't tripling down on some whole other bullshit, but you know, at least your fans are getting some raps out of you. I'm happy I can motivate you, bring you back to the game, like, you know, but just let me know when we're getting to the facts. Everything in my shit is facts. I'm waiting on you to return the favor, like.
Huh. I'm waiting on you to return the favor. Interesting. Obviously, it names it The Heart Part 6 because Kendrick gets very, psychoanalytical, raw, introspective with it. So for me, this is Drake's approach at a deep dive similar to the Heart series. And then he's trolling Kendrick getting into the Heart part 6. Like, he's continuing his story now. Since he felt like Kendrick keeps jumping in line on things, he's going to jump in line on Kendrick's The Heart series. So that's interesting approach from Drake and method of attack. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to look for the best in people. So I really genuinely hope that those allegations by Kendrick are not true, because I just look at Drake completely differently, right? It changes the whole outlook of everything to me. And yeah, because that's some serious, really messed up shit. So knowing that going into it, it's always going to be hard for Drake to deal with a situation like that. It's always going to be incredibly difficult, and you got to be very careful in how you address it, because it's a no-win situation, honestly. And I just feel like the famous rebuttal is not a good rebuttal. And this is what happens. You just have like one line in a song, one line that the internet and people just lock into, and it can discredit the rest of what you're doing. Because I felt like there were some good angles from Drake. And we talked about those angles that I liked in those methods of approach. But just looking at it from the outside, it feels like that glaring mistake is going to blow up, right? And then obviously we talked about the victim flips and victim blaming. That's not necessarily the best of looks. That feels like, sure, if you want to take that route, you want to go down that road, save that for another track. Not this track when you're denying certain things. Because again, that's not going to paint you in the best of light either. But again, interesting, just dynamic flip, right? Kendrick giving us club songs and Drake going into this method of drop down attack and approach. And it really does feel like Drake is ready to kind of like walk away and deal with this in other ways. But we'll see what happens. Anyways, Drake, you're Knox Hill certified. Hope you guys like today's video list. For some reason, you're here at the end. Obviously, you enjoy the content. Do me a huge favor. Support the channel directly. Subscribe, notifications on. Really, really does go a long way. Also, bars. Gotta catch them all. Knox Hill hat. Go get it. Support the brand. Spread the word. We out here doing this. We are still grinding. I'm sure Kendrick will drop again, and we'll be on it. I love you guys. I'll catch you again.